Copyright laws and violating those laws are something most teachers never think about until they're standing at the copier and see the sign posted that says no copying of test materials allowed. Most of us never think about saving an image from Google and putting it on a PowerPoint, or copying off 75 copies of a poem of Edgar Allan Poe as a violation of copyright. But these are just a couple of instances where a law has been broken. It is very important that we as teachers become more educated on what is copyright, how we use things fairly, the motivation behind copyright infringement, and ideas on how to minimize these instances of infringement. To sum it up, copyright is the law protecting the property of all creators from unauthorized use. According to this law, copyrighted materials can only be used with the permission of the creator. However, not everything falls under the copyright law. Anything that falls under public domain does not need permission to be used. There's a lot of fine details, so you have to make sure you're familiar with all the information before using a source or using an item without crediting the source. Copyright infringement is the use of works protected by copyright laws without permission. Copyright infringement disputes are usually resolved through direct negotiation and notice of takedown or the process of litigation in civil court. In the case of fair use, teachers are in an unfortunate position. They are trying to push the limits of fair use. At the same time, they have an obligation to teach students about the respect for copyright law. Teachers are needing more and more materials and having less and less resources and money to provide those materials for their students. Therefore, the violation of fair use and copyright laws is becoming more prevalent in the classroom. These are the things that teachers and administrators need to be aware of in order to keep their teachers and staff from committing these crimes. It is important to understand how a person can violate a copyright law. For educators, we beg, borrow, and at times steal worksheets, presentations, copies of text and poems, and other copyrighted items. Most teachers would never break the law on purpose, but this is more a matter of being misinformed and being uninformed about the laws of copyright. There are certain uses of items that are used for educational purposes. These include the following: non-commercial instruction or curriculum-based teaching by educators to students at a nonprofit educational institution. Planned non-commercial study or investigation directed toward making a contribution to a field of study, or a presentation of research findings at a non-commercial peer conference, workshop, or seminar. Some of the motives for engaging in copyright infringement include pricing. People don't want to pay or have the inability to pay prices requested by legitimate sellers. Another reason that people engage in infringement is availability. The product that they're wanting is now no longer being produced or made, and they need to make more copies of that document or book or worksheet or workbook. Another thing is the usefulness. When a product comes like a DVD or a Blu-ray device, it's hard for teachers, especially, to want to pay for multiple copies of those when they already have the original to be shown to their classes for educational purposes. The truth is, most teachers have always pushed the limits of fair use. Most of us, at one time or another, have found the perfect piece of text, video, music, art, and closed our eyes and hoped against hope that it fell into the area of fair use. For the most part, it's cocooned in our own classrooms and we got away with it. But times are changing. The more frequent use of copyrighted material is becoming prevalent in the classroom. Students are seeing this. And as we try to teach the ideas behind plagiarism and why it's bad, we as educators have to realize what we're doing is the same thing. And we have to have the information for ourselves and for our students to be prepared to make those decisions on what is fair use and what is being used as a violation of copyright. There are several things that schools and school districts can do to help their teachers and staff from violating copyright laws. The first thing is to establish a process to ensure that all materials on the website is closely evaluated. Also, provide district-wide professional development for teachers. Include copyright law violation information. We want our students to also know about defamation, invasion of privacy, harassment, and copyright law. And if our teachers aren't informed, how do we expect our students to be? We need to take prompt action if accusations are made of copyright violations. And also be prepared to stand up for staff and students if false accusations are made. In other words, our districts can do what they can to minimize the chance that our students and staff will be accused of copyright law infringement. This also minimizes the district's liability